There are many areas where marriage oneness is tested, but there hasn't been one area that marriage oneness is tested more than in the area of money. As a matter of fact, we say money, intimacy, in-laws, and such matters. But when a couple is talking about finances, the oneness that they always had gets to be tested. Welcome back to Surrendered. My name is Rachel Kimani. I want to say thank you for being here. And if you're a new subscriber, I welcome you wholeheartedly. Surrendered is a journey that we take. We talk about our relationships. We talk about our marriages. We talk about our singlehood. We talk about where we're working. Life is in form of relationships and we must walk light. We've been talking about the money issues and the questions that people have been asking. And last week we were able to talk about a few of those. I suggested that we will talk about money in a few more segments. And in today's segment, this area of oneness, there has never been a time where oneness in a couple, oneness in a relationship, oneness in a marriage has been tested more. Many couples can basically agree on many areas except in the area of money. And it's real, it's breaking marriages, it's bringing separations, it is bringing resentment, and we got to be open to this. We spend a lot of money discussing how we will do our wedding, but we never really get down to discussing how we will spend the money that we get or how we will place it on the table for discussion because we like it, we don't like it. Money permeates every area of our lives. So the question today is, why is oneness in our marriages getting so tested day in, day out? There is a couple that talks about money and they have no beef. There is a couple that fights over money. There is a couple that would rather not talk about money. And there is a couple that is just okay, just living like money never existed. And today's video is about this couple that doesn't talk about money, that looks okay. Have you ever gone for maybe a couple's dinner or a church family setup? Whichever one you may think about, if the topic is about money, there is always a couple that has never had an issue and you feel, hey, am I really okay? Is my family okay? Because we discuss this money and sometimes they are sensitive. But there is this couple I want to address today, the couple that has never discussed money. They avoid money issue and they are okay about it. There is a big problem there. Put your comment here. Do you think there is a couple that exists without talking about money and they are still okay? Do you think couples should discuss money when they are getting married, after they get married, and it should be a continuous conversation? Or do you think we should just be saved and we don't talk about money? As for me, I think money should be talked about every day. But money should not take the center stage of our marriage. From the beginning, the word of God says in Genesis chapter 2 and verse 24, a man shall leave his father and mother, and he shall join his wife, and they shall become one flesh. And of late, it is, we are one except when money matter comes. So what is up with this couple that looks so okay? That looks like so composed. They don't talk about money. They hear no wrong about money. They say no wrong about money. If you are that couple, today I want to tell you there is an elephant in your room. And this elephant will break your doors, will break your windows, will break your communication. And there must be a reason why you feel you want to play safe. I want to suggest this, that the highest level of vulnerability for any woman, any man, is when you offer your body to somebody else. There is no oneness that exists that. If you can be so close that you have actually been together, money then should not be so difficult. That is why God has given us a marriage that He desires that it remains one. I want to talk about a few things which I think are the causes of this couple that doesn't talk about money. For one, we can't blame them so much, although I feel it's just a time bomb. If it is not catastrophic, it is bubbling up, and one of these days, whether you're married 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, 50 years, one day you will talk about the reason why you never discussed money. So let's talk about money right now. One of the reasons that many couples genuinely don't discuss money, it is because of their money traditions, where we came from, where you come from, how you saw money being handled. Like, for example, I didn't see money discussion in our home. But I discuss money in my family because I have to break tradition that I didn't see work so well. Well, they survived, we lived well, but were there issues? Yes, many. Because where you don't know where money is coming from, but you are eating, where you are not so sure that you have had, we have a budget, we have a children budget, we have this. We survived right. But many couples who don't discuss that, they say, I didn't see my mom talk about finances with my dad, so I don't see the need to talk about finances with my husband. I don't see why I should discuss money because my dad ran the whole budget. Or better still, there was no budget to run. That is one tradition. But it has been overtaken by events because the needs nowadays, there are so many. Many couples are going back to their pastors to ask for time out, separation, because they can't see eye to eye because of this issue of money. The other thing that I think is very important, fear. Fear of what if I talk about money and my husband or my partner or whoever. And by the way, even as I talk about partners and friends and cohabitation and living, you must always remember that in Surrender Channel, how I wish and how I desire that we can be living together as a married man and as a married wife in a godly way. However, because of our decisions and choices as man and woman who are not necessarily married, and you're fighting day in, day out, this means beneath that fear, there is a reason, there is fear. Beneath the tension of money, there is a fear of, I am in this not because of my commitment, but because money has brought us together. And as long as I don't talk about it, we shall remain together. Money will not keep you together. It is your commitment, it is your love, it is your time, it is your belief that will keep you together. Get out of that fear, because if your wife has money habits which are not good, if your husband does not discuss money and he cannot be asked because he's the head of the family, then you are bringing up and you're breeding a problem. Of course, I suggest that you have ways of asking. There is communication. We have done premaritals and we have been taught on how to communicate even in delicate situations. This couple that doesn't talk about money, they have mistrust. Believe you me, there are some families whereby they feel, I don't know where my husband gets money from. I don't know how much my husband earns. And if I ask, it will come out like mistrust. I mean, I'm considering you already did not talk so much of this before you came together. But there is always hope. Because you're here, you must talk about the underlying issues. There is this other thing. This one is very important because it's the deal breaker, it's the home wrecker. It's one of the main reasons why couples are not living together. I alluded to it last time. It is now common. Yours, mine, and ours. Your money, my money, and our money. When did his money become his money? When did my money become my money? And why is it so hard for us to talk about it? This being a main reason for all these disagreements, I want to think. If I say my money is my money, I don't have an issue. I could be my money. And we could have talked about it and we decide, you keep your account separately, I keep my account separately. We will bring our agendas together. I don't have an issue with that as long as these separate accounts, they are not a breed for secret things. Have you heard of financial infidelity? Financial infidelity is whereby you intentionally keep your spouse from knowing what you're doing with your money. They don't have a right to know what you have done. They don't have a right to know how much you have spent. They don't have a right to know the projects that they have in store for your family. And when this is happening, it is so much encouraged by your money, my money, and our money. Better still, if you can agree that all our monies can be in different accounts, but when we are working, we work on this, or we know our budgets, that may be a way out. But please, if you are this couple that run on various accounts and you cannot ask, what are we doing with this money? You're trending on a dangerous ground. For example, my husband and I, we are in business. If we really truly depend on this one income, and maybe next week I go and I get a tender, that is so huge. And maybe my husband doesn't know that there's a tender. I'm just running the usual business. But maybe I get a government tender here and I earn a lot of money and I don't tell him. You see, he will assume it's the same things that we are doing every day. If I hide that from him, that is financial infidelity. And guess what? One day, whether we are old and we are just bending like this, he will know that I've been lying to him. So your money, my money, and ours, it's a big thing. And if you're running on that, work on it so that it doesn't bubble up and become the bomb that will spoil what you have been having. The reason why a couple decides that it's your money, my money, and our money, mainly if I feel that my independence will go. Because their spouses, once you tell them this is the money that I have, and sometimes we need to talk about this a little bit more when we are doing premarital counseling. You tell your spouse, this is all the money that I have. And then they take all that money and they channel it to what you don't consider important. Their values for money is not the same values for money as the one you have. So you feel like your independence will be taken away. Talk about your fears, talk about your mistrust, talk about what you feel will be taken away when you discuss money. Talk about where you feel you are keeping money for a bad night. Those secretive accounts, women, we are so big on this. And may God help us as women. For me, I would advise you, instead of keeping secretive accounts so that you save your husband from mismanaging the money, trust God to help you get around this topic and get right inside and tell him, may I keep this money this way because the last time I gave you money, you did this and this and that. The last money I gave you money for this project, we ended up, hanging up things and we didn't do the project. The other reason why I think many people don't talk about money, it could be, some people say there's no money to talk about. Yeah, as true as that might be, I totally believe that lack of money is not as bad as lack of communication. If you don't have money, talk about the lack so that you can look forward to how you can get money. Talk about what brought us here, what brought us to this stage whereby we have nothing. Talk about it. Don't let it eat you up until you say, there's nothing to talk about. The people who have money, they're the ones who talk about money. No, actually, the families that are struggling, they're the ones who have tendencies of leaving one another because they don't like to talk about the lack of money. But what is my encouragement to you today? That because God desires oneness and you have been able to be one in various ways, these two, you can be one. When we surrender even our monies to the Lord, when we surrender our relationships to the Lord, God is for us. Believe me, God is for your relationship. God is for your marriage. Just keep on surrendering it to Him. And if you're single and you are watching this video, these are the things that you will get to talk about day in, day out. Ask all the financial questions that we have talked about before. I will put the video that I talked about, questions to ask. I'll attach it to this video. And you will have a godly marriage. You will have a better place to stand in when you begin your marriage. As for now, it's a bye-bye and God bless you.